Is this Russia's secret weapon against Ukraine's drone swarms? As the skies over the battlefield turn into a drone zone. A report from the Institute for Science and International Security notes that Moscow has been deploying an average of 188 Gerun UAVs per day, based on data from late September 2025, a total of around 5,400 units between June and September. With Ukraine just as active in its drone operations, Russia is clearly taking steps to prevent the nightmare scenario of drone strikes penetrating its territory. We'll take a closer look at how this new Russian tactic works. Keep your eyes on the story. Although modern confrontations are dominated by drone technology, with hundreds of unmanned aerial systems used daily by both sides to strike military targets, key infrastructure, and conduct reconnaissance, the Russian military has demonstrated that battlefield success does not rely solely on technological sophistication. Counter-drone measures, whether kinetic or electronic, are not always sufficient, forcing both sides to revert to older yet proven methods, concealing their movements. Imagine a bleak morning on the front line. The sky is gray, wrapped in a thick fog that clings tightly to the trees and open fields. A light drizzle begins to fall, soaking the ground and turning the soil into sticky mud. To many, such weather might seem like an obstacle to military operations. But for Russian forces, this is the moment they've been waiting for. According to an analysis by the Institute for the Study of War, the Russian military cleverly uses bad weather, rain, and fog as a natural protective curtain to conceal their offensives. It's an old trick, but remarkably effective in the drone era. Ukrainian drones, which rely on clear visibility for reconnaissance and targeting, are rendered nearly blind in such conditions. Their optical and thermal cameras struggle to penetrate the layers of fog and raindrops, drastically reducing their intelligence gathering and strike capabilities. In the silence broken only by the soft patter of rain, Russian troops have assembled. Behind the defensive lines, at predetermined staging areas, dozens of military assets are lined up neatly. Proud T-90 main battle tanks, agile BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicles, BTR-82A armored personnel carriers, Kamaz tactical trucks carrying logistics, and Musta-S self-propelled artillery are all poised to move. The commanders have delivered their final orders. Soldiers check their gear one last time. At the agreed signal, the engines roar to life beneath the blanket of fog. The armored convoy creeps forward, slowly but steadily advancing toward Ukrainian positions. Overhead, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones still trying to operate can only make out faint, blurry shapes, unclear pixels on their monitors. Their surveillance systems falter, thermal radars are disrupted by the thick fog and humidity. As Russian forces approach the front line, their formation spreads out. Tanks lead the way, followed by IFVs carrying infantry, ready to dismount and secure captured positions. Artillery in the rear begins firing supporting rounds, bombarding enemy positions with high explosive shells, sowing chaos and confusion. Shielded by bad weather and supported by precise artillery fire, this large-scale mechanized assault succeeds in breaching Ukraine's initial defenses. An old trick was revived, proving that sometimes nature can be the best ally. The Ukrainian battlefield is a mosaic of fortified strongholds, where Ukrainian forces have built layered defenses on every inch of territory they have seized. Pure infantry assaults, such as those experienced by Russian troops at the beginning of the conflict, often end with heavy losses and minimal gains. In light of this challenge, the Russian military has returned to the concept of combined arms operations, a powerful strategy designed to penetrate even the most resilient enemy defenses, particularly in the strategically important Donbass region. Combined arms operations involve precise coordination between multiple elements: infantry, combat engineers, artillery, air power, armored vehicles, and drones. The goal is to create pressure from multiple directions, exploit any weaknesses in the enemy's defenses, and maximize the chances of success. First, Russian drone units, though sometimes hindered by weather conditions, are still used to identify key defensive positions, barbed wire obstacles, and minefields that may not be visible from the ground. This information is immediately relayed to artillery and combat engineering units. Then, artillery begins bombarding enemy positions with precision fire, striking bunkers, trenches, and identified defensive points. At the same time, combat engineers advance using specialized equipment to clear minefields and create breaches in barbed wire obstacles, opening pathways for armored vehicles and infantry. Once a safe corridor is established, tanks and infantry fighting vehicles move forward, providing heavy fire support. Infantry dismounts from the IFV, sweeping through remaining enemy positions, clearing trench by trench and securing buildings. Overhead, if conditions allow, attack helicopters or fighter jets provide close air support, targeting enemy forces attempting to launch counterattacks or reinforce their defenses. But what about the pressure coming from the skies? As winter approaches and ice begins to freeze the ground, Russia appears determined to secure its strategic advantages in Ukraine. Despite international calls from Donald Trump to freeze the fighting along the existing lines, Russian forces continue to advance in several parts of the long front line, ignoring any form of negotiations they see as harmful to their interests. On October 17th, the Ukrainian military reported that Russian forces launched a record 268 guided aerial bombs in a single day. This number represents a sharp increase compared to the previous week's average of 170 to 180 bombs per day. These bombs, carrying payloads of up to 1,500 kilograms, mostly targeted Ukrainian infrastructure near the front lines. By crippling enemy logistics, destroying command posts, and damaging weapons depots, Russia aims to weaken Ukraine's ability to defend itself. In addition to the intense guided bomb attacks, Russia has also continued launching drone and missile strikes every night against targets across Ukraine, particularly focusing on energy infrastructure. Since 2022, what Russian military tactic has caught your attention the most? Leave your thoughts, and thanks for watching.